Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sheffield United Way for another championship prediction video. We are on game week 40. I am absolutely buzzing for this one. I love doing this video with Ollie every week, and I thought I was going to be singing my own praises coming into this one, but as always, it doesn't quite work the way that I want it to. Anyway, let me bring Ollie. And mate, let's talk about this. So I think it finished 7-6, and I could have been 9-1 up after the first three fixtures. 9-2 maybe.
Yeah, there was a really nice late goal in the Luton game, which obviously ruined your potentially perfect banker, which is just great to see, to be honest. It's just you just love to see it.
But I did get a perfect score on, like, for the early kickoffs as well. It was the Preston game, which was good because I haven't been getting many perfect scores as of late, so it's good to see. And yeah, I just didn't really pick up that many points after that, and you got a cheeky little 0-0. That it's just not on. That it's just not on.
Picking a 0-0 is the thing that I think that's my superpower. I think if I had any talent at all, it's picking the 0-0.
And picking Middlesbrough to win 4-0 or whatever it used to be, because that was every week.
Picking Middlesbrough to win 4-0, only for it to then come back and bite them, because I've done that to so many teams. I think maybe that should be my pattern to the end of the season. Let's always say, well, BORO are obviously going to win 4-0 in an easy game, because we know that is the number one jinx that I can possibly do. It's like voodoo at this stage.
Yeah, that's what we want to see as Sheffield United fans. Now, I'm going to bring a few comments in before we get into it. Stuart Blade, massive 2 games. Blades need to beat Wigan. Absolutely. Blades have got Wigan. And then Luton and Middlesbrough have both got really, really difficult games as well. So let's see what happened in those. Charlie Brown is in this stream. It's great to see. Dagos. Simon Gregory, we're all Blades, aren't we? We are, except for some aren't in the chat. UTB and Best Forever. I've not seen Best Forever in there before, so it's good to see a couple of new faces.
It is always nice when we get new people in the chat. Always nice when we get new people joining us to do their score predictions with us as well in the comments. Obviously, in the video after this game, you can join us. You can give us your score predictions, and I will go through and have a look to see what your scores are and who the champion is for our viewers. So I, of course, did that last week, and we had a few decent scores. It's not a high scoring week, generally speaking. Obviously, myself and you, Nick, we got 7 and 6. Then in the chat, most people are around that mark. We've got Pete Day got 6, James Stribley got 6, Shad's got 7, and Joachim got 7, which looked pretty deep. Had 2 people who managed to just put their head up above the parapet. Peter Heppel got 9, and this week's champion, Keith Whitaker, a very familiar name at this stage because he wins all the time. He got 11 points, a cracking effort from him.
Yeah, is it Peter Heppel as well? Peter Heppel absolutely kills it. He's in there every week. You're always mentioning him. He never gets 2 points or 3 points. He's always in the high single digits or the lower to mid double digits. So well done, guys. Well done. I'm going to put up on screen the league table. I am edging ever so closer to Beastly Ollie's score. I am 9 behind now. It's crept up over I think I've won the last 3 or 4 weeks as well, but I keep winning by the odd points, 1 or 2 points. The viewers are obviously flying away. We're past that. It's all about week on week for viewers rather than that table. It's pretty pointless me putting the viewers on there because they're flying away.
Yeah, exactly. They're so far clear. Just pull up this comment from Charlie Brown because I'm starting to feel it, to be honest. You know, there was a moment a few weeks ago, I was like 20 points clear. I was basically top of the league with 2 games in hand. And then all of a sudden, like 5 games later, I'm top of the league, but really in the middle of a bottle, knowing that the team behind me are about to come and overtake me. And, you know, that could be referencing any number of teams and not a specific one.
Definitely not in League One.
Definitely not in League One. No, it could go anywhere.
But this is a championship video, Ollie, not a League One video. So we're not going to talk about Wednesday absolutely being bottle jobs. That's not who you're on about, were it?
Oh, not at all. No. Don't know why they even came to mind, Nick.
Absolutely love it. Now, there's quite a few people in the comments now. Thank you very much, everybody, for getting in there. I will put a few more up on screen, and Ollie's going to put them up on screen. That's what we love to see. Let's crack on into the first game, and remember your banker at the end, Mr. Man. Mr. Man. I call my son that, and that's your actual name, Mr. Man.
It is indeed, yeah. When I used to be a teacher, they took great pleasure in me being Mr. Man. They spent at least 1 year making me teach Mr. Men books to 7-year-olds, which was a brilliant 3 months. They really loved it.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. You'll love to see it. Now, let's get into the first one. And I've gone for a trusty Luton 1-0 win because why not? Why have you gone for a Millwall win, mate?
Yeah, I always big up Millwall at home, but actually their record's not that good recently. They've won 2 of the last 5, but they've also lost 2 and only drawn 1. It's been a really hard run, but in their last one, they did lose to Huddersfield. So that's going to hurt them. But I still think they've got it in them to put in big performances. They've got the opportunity to really force themselves and make themselves pretty secure in that playoff spot, I think. Luton are in great form, but as we've pointed out on here, it's always a 1-goal game. If you're winning 1-0 every week, eventually your luck turns a little bit. They're on a fantastic run, unbeaten in 7. If it's all close games, eventually one goes the other way. And I think this could be the one that just goes the other way. And it's a shame because Luton have obviously had a fantastic season. They're another team who could catch United, but them losing this, hopefully, will open the door for Burnley to maybe have a celebration over the weekend.
Yeah, possibly so. And that would mean that when we play Burnley, they wouldn't be as looking for a result if they go and beat Borough. So I'll be honest, I don't think this will be a Luton win, but I'm going for standard Luton 1-0 win just in case it happens, like you used to do with the Preston 0-0.
Let's see if we come back to that later in the video, Nick?
I'm hoping so. I was just thinking that then. Now let's move on to Rotherham United versus West Bromwich Albion. Stop coughing, Ollie. Stop coughing. Now let's move on. I've gone for a 2-1 West Brom win. And I feel like I always go against Rotherham, and Rotherham always seem to pull some sort of result out of the bag, whether it's a 1-0 home win or a draw or something like that. I can't remember the last time they lost. I'm going for a defeat in this game for some reason because I feel like West Brom are going to. You're looking at me funny.
Yeah, because you said you can't remember the last time Rotherham lost, and it was like the game before last.
Oh, come on, Ollie. I'm not remembering all Rotherham's games. Come on. All right, then they've lost 1, and I think they've lost 1 in about 500 games. So I've gone for a West Brom win, so I am going for a Rotherham defeat in this game. You've gone for a draw because Rotherham are good at picking up the odd point or two. Why have you gone for a draw?
Yeah, so Rotherham have actually lost 2 of the last 3, Nick, and that's obviously been a difficult run for them. It's pulled them a little bit back.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying? It don't feel like that. It don't feel like that.
Yeah, I know. I was the same. And it shocked me a little bit because I thought, they were well clear of relegation and they'd probably be looking forward to another season in the Championship. But suddenly they are looking over the shoulders again. Huddersfield having a little bit of a good run, combined with them having a little bit of a bad run, certainly means they've been dragged back in. But they are a good team at the New York. I think they've won 2/3 of their points so far this season at the New York. So that's a really good record for them. Whereas West Brom are terrible away from home. They've not won in 6 away. They've lost 5 of those 6. But I just think this is 2 teams who are probably both going to be disappointed with a 1-1 draw, and neither of them can really do enough to get it over the line. I think it's not going to be a good watch. And it could go either way, but I think the most likely outcome, draw.
Fair enough. And I think the proof is in the pudding, really, because you're obviously in front of me in the table because I don't do my research. Anyway, let's move on to Blackburn Rovers versus Norwich City. We've both gone for a Blackburn win in this game. Blackburn, very inconsistent. Norwich City, very terrible. We saw them at Carrow Road. We managed to get that cheeky little goal that looks miles offside, but it wasn't, which was great to see. You always love one of those that goes your way. And Norwich, had one shot on target the whole game in the 90-plus first minute, and it was from way outside the box. So we didn't particularly play well, and Norwich still couldn't get a shot on target until injury time. Why is their season petering out?
Yeah, it's a really hard one to predict, to be honest, because at the start of the season, it felt like typical Norwich coming down from the Premier League and doing what Norwich do and being right back up there at the top of the league. But they've not been able to get the most out of their attacking players. I think Sargent's their top scorer with 11. Pukki's only got 10. The last time they've been in this division, Pukki's got sort of 25, 30 goals. And, he's announced today that he's leaving the club. So it's a really significant rebuild that Norwich are going to have in the summer. And to be honest, I don't see them making the playoffs. So it's going to be a championship rebuild for me. And, they've got to try something different. Maybe when they've got some of these South American lads, Nunes in the middle, once he's settled, maybe he can become sort of a Buendia type player. But at the moment, they've just not got anywhere near enough creativity in that team. And it just feels like a really rotten place right now. I think they need to get a real rebuild, get the fans back engaged with the team, and maybe just enjoy the football in the Championship for a season or two, because getting battered every week in the Premier League has obviously affected them. But to be honest, we're predicting this game. It didn't matter who Blackburn were playing. They lost last week, which means obviously they're going to win this one. So easy.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I agree. I do think that Norwich have got no chance of getting into the playoffs. It's not massively difficult if you go on a bit of a run, because everybody will beat everybody as what happens in the Championship. But they're just not playing very well. And that's the problem that they've got. Pukki's not firing all cylinders. I said on the match reaction for Sheffield United against Norwich that at one point Pukki got through and he was running one-on-one and he was just waiting, kind of waiting for somebody to help him out. And it's like the Pukki of old would be gunning for that goal and getting a shot away and more often than not scoring. So I think it really does prove that. And the funny thing was that you just said then, Pukki's only got 10. Only got 10. 10 isn't too bad for any striker in the Championship. But when it's him, when he bangs in goals for fun, or he has done in the past, yeah, he's obviously slowing down a little bit. But I'll tell you what, I'd still take him.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to see where he ends up, to be honest. He'll probably be looking above Norwich, I think. He'll think he can get another shot in the top division somewhere. I would expect it to probably be in Europe. I think there's some suggestion that he's going to go to join Daniel Farke. I think it's at Schalke, but don't quote me on that. It's definitely a German team at the very least. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he does end up. And on that point, obviously, United's top scorer, I think, has got 11. So when I say only 10.
Yeah. And I was thinking that when you said Sargent, I was like, yeah, we've not got too many good goal scorers. No. But at the same time, we do spread them across the team. And, we do often win 1-0 rather than lose 1-0 like Norwich. Anyway, let's move on to talking about Blackpool versus Cardiff City. Neither of us particularly think this is going to be a classic. I've gone for a 0-0. Can't see too many goals in this game. Yeah, I think it's going to be one of them that we are happy to forget. Yeah,
certainly. I feel a bit sorry for Cardiff, to be honest. I know it sounds like a controversial opinion to take.
Can I just say one thing before you continue?
That's why I
Damien, if you are still in the comments, Damien said, didn't he say something about they haven't conceded 2 against Cardiff since like 1904 or something like that? And they definitely conceded 2 goals. They might have won, but they definitely conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, and you're right to point it out. I do remember that coming up. So you promised us that you would bring it up again. And of course you did. But
in fine style.
I liked it. I did enjoy that. It's always nice when you remember to hold a grudge.
Especially over somebody that watches you every week. Yeah.
Yeah, and who's been a really fantastic fan for us as well. I really like it when you isolate the people who give us money, Nick. That's just do it more. Good Lord. But no, this is a horrible game to try and predict, to be honest. It's 2 teams who are pretty much in free fall. Like I say, though, I feel a bit sorry for Cardiff. It's bad enough conceding that 98th minute winner against your biggest rivals, who are then doing the double on you. But it's also been announced that they're going to have to replay that game against Rotherham from the start at 0-0. Now, obviously, when you're winning 1-0, you're well on top. You've been the better team. You're beyond half time. if that game gets cancelled, you are absolutely fuming if they make you play it again from the start. So they're not having any luck at the minute. But having said that, they're also not really earning any luck because they have been pretty rubbish in most of their games. Fortunately for them this weekend, so have Blackpool. You know, they managed to absolutely spank QPR a few weeks ago, but I think everybody's going to do that to QPR at the minute because I think on current form, QPR are comfortably the worst team in the league. And I don't think it's really indicative of what Blackpool have got in them. Don't think there's enough goals. And I just think this is a forgettable game that everybody will want to move on from.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So let's move on. Talking about that team you were just on about then, QPR. A little bit of sad news, first and foremost, coming out of Preston.
Yes, of course. Sorry, I was just distracted by the fact that you've got QPR to win a game. But talk about the sad news first, and then we'll come back to the banter, and I'll do an appropriately serious face.
Do you do the banter first?
Maybe we should, because I think I've ruined the vibe for the seriousness. Feel as though
and then we can bring the lights down and go.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire then.
Now did I. But the lights did go down on Millionaire, so maybe that's what it is.
That's what it was. Yeah, QPR 1-0. The only reason why I've gone for this is because their form has got to turn soon. They're playing at home against a team that are historically not great away from home. Wait, have I done it again? Are Preston normally good at home? I thought I was right.
No, I say you're right. You're not right. They're good away, bad at home. But I understand, you know, I've been looking at this prediction. QPR have only won 2 of their last 24. They're sleepwalking towards relegation, but they did beat Preston the last time they played them at Deepdale. So maybe they can look to get another result here. Like I say, Preston have only lost 1 in 9, but this is another one of those games where it's a team who've got lots to play for against a team who pretty much are going to be on the beach. There's not many goals in this Preston team. And speaking of no goals, Nick, do you want an update on Preston North End versus Erling Haaland?
Yes, please.
So I've been through it. I've checked the numbers to have a look at what this looks like right now. So Preston North End have played 39 championship games so far this season. That's the 4th least in the league and less than 1 per game. That's 37 goals in 39 games.
Okay.
Erling Haaland across all competitions has done a little bit better, but you know, he has been on a cold patch. He's only managed to score 8 in his last 2. So he's out of form, really, to be honest. And he's been struggling. But overall this season, he's played 37 games, 2 games less than Preston, and he's scored 42 goals, which is 5 more. He is powering clear still, even at this late stage of the season. And with a 0-0 draw predicted, I think they're going to stay behind Erling Haaland for the future. I should just mitigate and say this isn't just targeted at Preston. If you look at the championship, Erling Haaland's 42 goals is better than 8 championship teams.
Wow. That is incredible. Are Preston the lowest scorers in the league? Because they can't be anymore, can they?
They're not. No, they're the 4th lowest.
Right, okay. I thought they'd be higher than that because they've scored a few goals in a few games as well. Like obviously there were lots of 0-0s at the start, but yeah, they've definitely picked up. But yeah, Erling Haaland is just a machine, a robot, if you like. Before we get on to talking about Chad, I just want to bring up Damien, absolute legend. He's back again with the £5. Thank you very much, mate. Even though I gave you a little bit of grief. 2011 was the last time Cardiff scored 2 goals against us. However, even after us gifting them 2 goals, they can't get anything against us. Double, come on, you Swans, I think that is. So, yeah, we love to see it. We are big Swansea City fans because of Damien Heaven. We are in heaven seeing Damien's name every single time in our comments. Thank you very much. Now,
we are indeed, but I am interested, just before we get there, on whether or not we would see them do the treble double. Obviously, it requires that Cardiff don't get relegated, and it gives Swansea the opportunity to go for the 3-peat. And yeah, that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, it would. It really would. We'd love to see that. Because I've got no affiliation with Cardiff, so I'm more than happy to be a Swansea City. Yeah. In fact, I now don't like Cardiff, apparently, in the last couple of minutes. I definitely don't like Wrexham. So Swansea City are going to be our Welsh team, I think.
They are.
Now, Ole. I'll let you take the floor because actually I've been very, very busy today and I've not read up on this, but I have seen that Ched has he's having to end his season because of an illness. Is that right? A serious illness?
Yeah, so it's a serious illness that he's suffered that they're saying has ended his season and potentially obviously could affect his long-term health and also his career. It sounds as though it's come off the back of a neck injury that he suffered before the previous international break, and that's obviously running through. I don't believe they've released details of specifically what it is at the moment, but I believe he's going in for surgery, and we'll see whether or not that has a significant impact on him. The worry with things like neck injuries is that it's going to be concussion related or otherwise. I know they said it's a kind of injury that they normally associate with NFL players. And so, again, that supports that kind of conclusion. But yeah, just wishing him all the best, really. We don't want to see that for anybody. It sounds as though he's been having a good season, you know, within reason for Preston. We've seen him come up with some big goals recently. And it's a shame that he's not able to kick on with that and really finish this season strong. But I think we'd all send him our best, all hope that he will soon be feeling better and that we will indeed see him back on a football pitch sooner than later. But what's most important is that long term his health is strong and that this doesn't then go on to affect him any more than that.
Absolutely. Completely agree. Don't want to add anything more. Let's move on to talking about Reading Football Club versus Birmingham City. I can't remember the last time we had a battle of the cities. So I'm hoping one is going to come very, very soon. And Ollie's nodding. So I'm going to say I'm very looking forward to it. Now, I've gone for a 1-0.
There's two in this game week that are coming. They're not far away, Nick. Build up the excitement early.
I am buzzing. I'm buzzing. Now, I was going to go actually for a Reading win too, but I feel like the news of them being docked 6 points may rock the dressing room. It could go one way or the other. It could galvanize them and make them really, really get up for it and want to win this game. But Kadra's been on fire at the moment, and I've got a feeling he might get another one.
Yeah, there's every chance. He's obviously found a team that really suits him, and they're playing to his style as well. I think, you know, they're keen to try and hit teams on the break. They want to use his pace, and they really want him to stretch the game. But you're right, that 6 point deduction has Reading in real trouble. They're now only 1 point above the relegation zone. They are in terrible form with no wins in their last 6. But like you said, sometimes adversity can bring teams together. We know that Paul Ince loves trying to be us against the world and creating that mentality. Birmingham, as far as I'm concerned, are safe. You know, they're not going to get relegated this season. And as such, I think there's every chance to get caught out by a team with a strong home record and who have got absolutely everything to play for.
Yeah, you might be right. They're not going down. They're not going up. They're Birmingham City and they don't care. I'm sure that's how it ends. I'm not too bothered about talking about this game much more. I'm happy with moving on and talking about the big one, Sheffield United versus Wigan. It's a big one for us. And actually, it's a big one for Borough and Luton as well, because they're chasing us down. They're not doing very good chasing. Luton certainly are. And I'm now thinking that Luton may have a better chance of catching us or finishing third at least than Borough, but we'll have to see how Borough bounce back. They're quite good at bouncing back, but they've got a really tough game. And we, on paper, shouldn't have an easier one, really. On paper, I said on paper, and we've both gone for a win.
On paper, this is a no-brainer. But football is not played on paper, Nick. So let's look at some of the form information. It's not, I know. It always was for me as a kid when, you know, it was all about rolling dice and trying to find what the score was. But apparently that's a game that only lonely children play. So since Sean Maloney came in at Wigan, though, they've become the kings of drawing games. They've drawn 6 out of 10 since he joined the club. They picked up a pretty decent 12 points on the pitch in that time, obviously also having a 3 point deduction. I think that deduction probably means it's too much to ask for them to stay up this season, but they're a team fighting for their lives and they're not going to make this easy for United. But I think United will have just too much for them. The changes since the Luton game have been great to see. If we manage to keep that momentum going, I think it gives us a position that we can really build on. And, you know, we've got a fairly comfortable lead now from Borough. We need to keep them at arm's length and we have to win games like this, particularly at home. it's got banana skin written all over it. You know, we saw last week what happened. We saw BORO go to Huddersfield, which was a gimme win, and they didn't manage to get it done. We've got to now respond and get this one. We can't afford to have a slip up the same way that they have. And let's really try and take this one on, get the positive result, hope that later on that evening, Middlesbrough don't get a result at Burnley, and then we get a free hit. We can have a free swing at Burnley on Monday without the pressure of having already lost this game.
Yeah, we need you in the dressing room to talk to the players because as you were saying all that, I was ready to go out into the battlefield and do battle for Mr. Man. I was there ready to give my heart and soul for Mr. Man.
It was that speech about being a lonely kid that really did it for you, weren't it, Nick?
That was so funny because I think I remember what you're talking about. I think there was a cricket game as well that was very similar. Yes,
how was that?
I might have to buy that just off Amazon, just for bants, just for pure bants. Yes. Anyway, let's talk about football. Sheffield United. I've gone for a 1-0 win. I agree with everything that you've just said. We just need a victory, 3 points. That's all we need. We don't need to worry about anything else. I don't care. I hope it's 1-0. Next, let's move on to our first battle of the cities.
We need to get like streamers and like party hats for whenever there's a battle of the cities.
Yeah, it's a bit late in the season. If we do go into the Premier League, how many cities are there? There might only be a couple. There's
Leicester,
so many. Manchester what?
City.
Leicester, Manchester. I can't think of any more.
We're not going to the Premier League. It's fine. The Championship is where it's at.
I prefer the Championship, but you always say that when you're in the Championship, don't you? Anyway, let's talk about Stoke City because they deserve a full video talking about Stoke City. They've been that good recently, and I never saw it coming. I know Alex Neil is a very good manager, but I never saw this coming at all because they were terrible in Alex Neil's kind of infancy. And now they're scoring at least 3 goals every single week. And that's why we've both gone for them scoring at least 3 goals.
Yeah, they've been on absolute fire, to be honest. And I agree with you. I just didn't see it coming. I feel as though it's come really under the radar that Stoke have turned their season around. I think their January signings were massive, particularly Ki Herva, who's been fantastic for them since he's come in, scoring a few goals as well, which I don't think anybody was calling when they signed a centre-half. But, you know, unbeaten in 5. They won 4-0 in the last game. Feels pretty much to me like a bit of a no-brainer to be another home win, another big result. Joachim disagrees, but
he's off his head.
He's got no idea, that lad. You know, Bristol, because you know Bristol themselves aren't in great form. You know, they had a really good unbeaten run a few weeks ago, but then they got battered at home to Man City in the FA Cup, and that seems to have really affected their momentum. They've only won 1 in 6 since then. And, you know, this is 2 teams ultimately who are mid-table, one who are trying to plan for next season and a playoff push, and one who are probably just happy to be in mid-table. So I think Stoke are going to take it fairly easily. Woo!
There's some crazy ones. I think people are just saying these things. I think they're clickbaiting us, if you like, and be like, put me on screen because I'm talking nonsense. So there you go. 4-0 Bristol City. If that happens, I'm going to give you this whole series. If that happens, 4-0 Bristol City, because it's never going to happen. It is the Championship after all. Lewis has gone for a 3-0 win, like Holly's gone for. And yeah, let's move on to talking about another battle of the cities. Swansea City versus Coventry City. We've gone for both teams scoring goals. You going for Coventry, scoring more goals than I've gone for. Swansea City, though, they're going to be on a high.
A massive high. You know, this is the prediction that I am least confident about, possibly of the season, but at the very least of this video. You know, Swansea are unbeaten in their last 14 games against Coventry. They've not lost to them since 1981. They're coming into this game off the back of 2 fantastic derby wins against Bristol City and against Cardiff. And that is a massive momentum builder with like a 99th minute winner. But Cardiff got a pasting against Stoke. They're really going to want to come back and have an immediate reaction, because if they don't win this game and Millwall and Blackburn both pick up the victories that we've predicted for them, then that gap to the playoffs suddenly looks huge. So they've really got to try and get 3 points here. And I think they've got it in them, albeit that it's a very difficult place to go and somewhere that Coventry never have any success, apparently.
There you go. Now, did you? You said like the 1980s or something. I'm sure.
81.
1881. Yeah, that's more like it. That's more like it. Now let's move on to talking about Watford versus Huddersfield Town. You didn't get that. Never mind. We'll move on. We've both gone for Chris Wilder's Watford to pick up 3 points in this game. Now, who knows? Watford in it and Huddersfield in it.
Yeah, this is a terrible
prediction. Wilder versus Warnock.
Wilder versus Warnock, and both of them are going to be desperate to win this because they are not the best of friends, as both of them have made clear in different interviews and different speeches that they've gone for. But, you know, the key question for me is Warnock going to do it? 2 wins in a row, 7 points from their last 3. They're now joint on points with Cardiff, just in the relegation zone. Is he going to do it again?
No.
Is he, though?
No.
Is he? I think he could, you know. But looking at Watford, Wilder's not had the impact I thought he was. I thought when he went there, they were guaranteed playoffs, and now they're pretty much guaranteed not to be going into the playoffs. I think both sides are going to forget this. Wilder's started making noises about wanting to stay through the summer and stay to next season, but I just don't see that working at all. I think it's a silly idea. I don't think
they're his players. They're not his players.
He loves. They're never going to have his players.
No, they're not. He's the. I honestly think that Wilder should have gone to Huddersfield, kept them up, because I think he would. I think he had more chance of keeping them up than Warnock does. And Warnock still might. He still might. But I think that Wilder would have galvanised them quicker. I think he loves British players all playing for each other, us against the world, stuff like that. I think he'd have kept him up. I think he'd had a really good season the season after, wheeling and dealing, getting David McGoldrick in, getting Jake Wright in, getting Daniel Lafferty in, bringing the band back together, and then getting a move, I don't know, to somebody that he thinks may propel his career back to what it was before. But I just think that he should have. Watford was never going to be a good club for Wilder to manage.
No, agreed. It's just not the right match. You know, the players don't suit his style. And I just don't see how a transfer window at Watford works for him. After what we've seen at Borough, particularly what we know about the end of his time at United, he's going to want a lot more control than Watford are ever going to give him. So I just don't see how that's going to be a marriage that works. But I do think for the end of this season, we will probably see him embrace the chaos. You know, we saw it at Bramall Lane where sometimes he would just randomly take off a centre half, stick on a couple of strikers because, you know, that's just what we do. And I think that could be what the end of this season looks like for Watford. I think we'll see them just going for it, trying to be entertaining. And I think he's going to throw up crazy games like a 3-2 against Huddersfield.
There you go. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Now, moving on, let's talk about Sunderland AFC versus Hull City. I've gone for a 2-1 Sunderland win. I weren't sure about this one. I think it could be a draw.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I did some more looking at head-to-head stats because, you know, apparently they're the only thing that matter in score predictions. Sunderland haven't lost to Hull since 2014 when these were both Premier League teams. They've both been to League One, of course, and played each other in League One since then. But I still think Sunderland will just have too much for them. They've had really good draws with Luton and Burnley, so they'll be feeling like they've maybe turned the corner. Whereas for Hull, it's gone a little bit the other way. It's gone a bit sour. There's started to be some rumours. Now, I think they're nonsense. I think most Hull fans think they're nonsense. But some rumours that Rossini is going to be moved on in the summer, which sounds ridiculous.
Ooh,
but
I don't like that.
After a run of only 1 win in 9, it doesn't scream to me that there's consistency and they're going to pull it off. A 0-0 snooze fest is not a bad prediction, to be fair. That's what they did at Rotherham. There's every chance Hull just did that again.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to go 0-0, and I'm like, and just moved on. I'd made all those noises and just moved on. Now, let's stop wasting time and talk about the big one, because let's be honest, this is the game of the week. This is Middlesbrough, who need to win. I've put it in the title. Middlesbrough need to win, because if they lose and we beat Wigan, it's all over for them, in my opinion. However, Burnley also are really, really going to want to clinch that title as soon as possible. Promotion, title, everything as soon as possible. And this is going to help them on the way if they win this game. But neither of us gone for a Burnley win.
No, and it's weird that, because obviously we're still talking about what is probably the best team in the league by an absolute mile, but Borough really, really need a result. You know, after what happened last weekend, that shock to the system of losing at Huddersfield, they're going to come into this absolutely flying. They've got a fantastic home record since Michael Carrick joined. So it's a hard one to predict. But to be honest, I think this is all going to be about game state and what happens earlier in the day. So this 2-2 prediction is basically me sitting on the fence, because if United don't beat Wigan, then Middlesbrough will win this game.
Yeah.
As a counter, if Luton don't beat Millwall, then Burnley can get promoted and will probably win this game. So it's all about what happens earlier in the day, because whichever team gets that boost of confidence and that adrenaline from the other results, I think they'll... Oh, God, I nearly died. I think they'll be the team that go on and win it. And I think every chance that it's not 2-2, this is just basically a holding prediction until we know what happens earlier. What I really
can't change.
You what?
Don't change. You can't change. You're saying it's a holding. No. I'm going to change. All right, then.
No, everyone's. If you're in the comments, just let me know that you're happy for me to just change my prediction randomly on about 7:45 on Friday night. I think that's reasonable. Because I think that Burnley are probably the more likely team to win it, as long as United beat Wigan. But I didn't want to predict that because it's the scariest thing in the world. So let's go for a draw. That's still positive for United, and we'll take it. I think for me, what I want to happen is I want Burnley to get promoted. I want them to then go out celebrating, have a fantastic Easter weekend, really, really enjoy themselves, and then, you know, just not be at it on Monday. That's the ideal scenario. But that comment from Matt is interesting. Can United chase down the title? No. Very clearly, the answer to this question is no. But if Borough happened to win this, and then if you know what, if United then were to win at Turf Moor on Monday, that makes it a little bit more interesting. I don't think that's going to happen. It seems the most unlikely scenario possible. I don't see it even really being a realistic option, but strange things do happen in football.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that if Burnley lose to Borough, they will be going out all guns blazing against us.
Yeah.
Also, could be a little bit of a shock, thinking that we've lost one, we can't lose two in a row. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I can't imagine Burnley losing both of these two games over the Easter break. But saying that, I've gone for Middlesbrough to win this game. I think that it's one of them that they just need to win to stay in touch. And I think a lot of these games, when teams need to win, they somehow find a way to win. And Burnley's not been fantastic recently.
No, they've had a few draws. I mean, they
don't need to be, though, do they?
Let's be realistic. They don't need to win that many games to win the title and get promoted. We all know that's probably what's going to happen, but who knows? We like to create a little bit of narrative where we can, you know. You've got to try and push an agenda sometimes.
You've got to, mate. You've got to. And do you know what? I've absolutely loved going through these with you and everybody in the comments. We've had some incredible numbers and incredible comments in the live chat too. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Before you leave, please make sure you pop a like on this video. Also, comment what your score predictions are. It's not enough just to put them in the live chat. It would take Ollie weeks to go through every single live chat. So pop them in the comments after this video. Every team, every scoreline you're going to go for. And Ollie could be giving you a shout out in next week's video. We've not got many of these videos left. It could be Premier League predictions next year. Who knows? We'll have to see. Thank you, Ollie, as always, mate, for being here.
No, thank you very much. Once again, always enjoy it, Nick. And yeah, hopefully I extend my lead.
No, we're not having it.